and in today's video, we're going to be looking at what secrets need to be revealed to you. Let's all thank a lovely subscriber, Teresa V, for suggesting this absolutely amazing question. Loved it, saw it, blew me away. In fact, actually, you had a second half to that question that I thought was so good it deserves another video on its own. So Teresa V, if you're watching this, please comment down below so we can all like your comment. It can raise to the top and we can give you that much praise because this one is a very, very good suggestion. I also wanted to thank everybody. In my last video, I was intensely suggested by my spirit guides that I should reach out to you and say, hey, is there anything you want me to cover? And I got dozens upon dozens upon dozens of amazing I was reading through all of them with my boyfriend. My boyfriend was picking his favorites. Let's just put it this way. They were all so good. I struggled to decide which one I was going to start off with. And I greatly appreciate that. And in moving forward, not only will I continue to happily accept any suggestions you guys have, but I will include your name. So if you don't want to be called by the name on your profile, please include, your actual name or what you want to be referred to. But that being said, I had another question in mind today, but when I woke up, the whole sky's covered in clouds. It's like a spooky skeleton kind of day. I have a Halloween deck, and I was like, let's do this. I'm vibing with this first. We have 4 groups in front of us. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to give you a moment to pick the group that you resonate with most. Now that you've done that, you can go down to the description where you can skip to your designated group and we can get started with group number 1. Group number 1. Let's find out what secrets need to be revealed to you by looking at the cards. We've got, all right, this is a bit of an intense one. Let me turn the light up on this a little bit. Metamorphosis card, Oracle card upright. This is not necessarily a bad one. I don't think Metamorphosis is upright is a bad card, but it's kind of intense considering the question we're asking, but we'll get more into that. Queen of Pentacles upright. I kind of wonder if this is job-oriented. I obviously have to look at the other cards, but let's keep going. The Sun card in reverse, the King of Cups in reverse, and finally oh my tarot, the Ten of Swords upright. Okay, so I am not trying to freak you out with my weird noises. Apologies. I am just being pulled every which way. I will say this. I am very happy to say that 75% of this outcome is ultimately happy. And in general, it is a very happy thing to happen. It's positive. All the good things you want to hear. I'm excited for you. It's going to be a good thing in the end. But I am being pulled every which way, and you will see why as I get further in depth with a lot of the details of this information. Because when you learn certain things, sometimes the process to get there is uncomfortable. That is where you hear me going, and going, ooh, ah, you know what I mean? So, and that was not because of the Ten of Swords. It's actually a lot of the interactions going on in addition with the Ten of Swords, especially these 2 cards. So just keep that in mind. I'm excited for you. It is positive, but that you'll see what I mean in a second when we talk about it feeling like a back and forth type of thing. But let's get into it. So this other person, their information is going to heavily affect you. And sometimes when we are affected to this degree, we grow and we change. And sometimes, well, I'll be honest with you, you can tell me down in the comments, has growing and changing ever, like big dramatic growing and changing, really is rarely a positive thing. And even if it is a positive thing, you get a new job and you get to move, it's an overwhelming, scary, nervous feeling. That's what I meant. It's always a positive thing, but it's sometimes just the shift is overwhelming to experience. That's the best way I want to put it. So ultimately, when we have the Metamorphosis card, this is a great thing. but it involves leaving and letting go of something completely and leaving it behind you and letting it go. And this can be overwhelming to experience. Sometimes it involves no longer involving yourself with another person, and that can be emotional. My spirit guides are telling me about the idea of comfort, that sometimes we feel it's painful to let something go because we thought that idea was comforting. And ultimately, it can be great, like letting go of low self-esteem. But again, we can often view that, low perspective of ourselves as a comforting thing, which is why it's an uncomfortable process. Yet, the end result is, showing off your tail feathers, fluttering your beautiful butterfly wings, and being really happy ultimately in the end that you grew and changed from this information being shared with you. So we have the Queen of Pentacles. The biggest thing coming through, and I will talk about all the meanings, is someone letting you know that they are no longer at their job and they're instead going to be pursuing what they really want to be pursuing. The reason why this affects you is if this is a roommate situation, or you're close in some sort of way, or it's a romantic partner, obviously money is a factor, and that would be overwhelming to hear that they don't, or they don't have their job, or they don't want to be at their job anymore. And that's usually that feels like a couple's decision, or two people type of decision. And at first that's maybe not necessarily what you want to hear. It's going to be good in the end. Again, like I talked about, 75% good, some of it kind of hard to hear initially. But for other people, I want to talk about the idea that what they have to share is something that they are built this idea that they did it for themselves, but when they share it with you, it's for them, and it's going to ultimately leak over and benefit you. Do you see what I'm saying? But this is going to be something that you can see, taste, touch, that kind of concept. So this is going to be the type of secret that involves a tangible object you will physically see, a project they were working on. Again, if they were feeling hey, I've been working on this new house, you can come live in the house, or whatever it is, it was done for them and they're sharing it with you, and that is where the social interaction comes in. But Queen of Pentacles is upright, so this is ultimately a really positive thing, but I think it's so interesting that it has such a dramatic result the biggest thing that's heavily being carried in my head is you will feel a sense of loss in another part of your life as you move forward. So that's why I think it's so interesting that such a positive thing is having this sort of interaction. And then this is where it gets pulled again over here, because the King of Cups is ultimately, in many regards, and when it's in reverse, is a negative card. This is when somebody is making decisions. How do I put this? It's for personal gratification rather than considering everybody's emotions and how it's going to affect them, and even considering themselves. Really, it's more just done out of instant, you get what I'm saying. So this almost feels like the decision they're making is selfish. That's ultimately what it feels like. And with the Metamorphosis cards, I was looking at these and I was like, wait a minute, does this involve someone sharing something with you and then you don't like that secret, so you detach yourselves from them, and so therefore that's the loss, and that's where it feels overwhelming? Do you see what I'm saying? See where I'm getting pulled in around? That's not the case though, and I got pulled around because the Queen of Pentacles implies a good sense of selfishness. So this is a little tip when you're reading tarot. Sometimes, and because humans are complicated, they can have both tones at once. It can be done a little bit out of selfishness, but it ultimately can be a positive thing. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes, even if they're saying that it can be a selfish idea, it doesn't ultimately mean it will feel like that. It's just letting you know that they did it for themselves and you were benefiting from it. But in the Sun card in reverse, again, this is where it seems weird and pulling around, this is when you're getting good news, but it's maybe, again, 90% of what you wanted. Ultimately a very good thing, but maybe you have it's not exactly how you wanted to receive the information. It's a little off. Maybe you didn't necessarily want to deal with this shift and change in your life now. You know what I mean? But also, it can talk about the idea of jealousy. And this is important to note when we have a 10 of Swords situation, ultimately, when we're talking about this. Sometimes you're going to hear information that's really positive for somebody else, but for you internally, it feels like this sense of, oh, cool, they're doing so great. Well, that's great. I'm happy for them. I mean, I've got nothing going on in my life right now. So happy they're doing great, and I'm, struggling. And I say this, sarcastically, obviously, and that's sometimes how it feels like it. And keep all of this in mind when we talk about the 10 of Swords upright. The 10 of Swords, that's so interesting. I keep thinking about Mexico. Are iguanas in Mexico? That's so interesting. Anyways, I'm just thinking about that. I don't know. That's coming into my mind. The 10 of Swords doesn't ultimately mean it's a bad ending. Not at all. People only fixate on that being the only translation of the card. Swords talks about your mind, and the 10 of Swords can be a very aggressive ending to a mindset. So it's a good thing. It's saying, hey, that thing that's been kind of holding you back, or that thing, that's gone now. It's not your life anymore. We've come to the end. You've fully gone through what you need to get out of thinking this way. It's not going to be in your life anymore. You've done it. You're done. It's gone. It's no longer serving you, and it's out of your life for good. So again, it talks about that idea of metamorphosis. Again, reflecting that idea that this is going to be a bit of aggressive change in your life, a bit of intense, kind of like an ego death, so to speak. Again, we talk about the jealousy, the idea that maybe by you hearing about someone else's happiness, you're having to face your own sense of like, I gotta let go of this side of myself. It's gotta change. Either way, this is something that as they come to you with this information is going to be something that you can physically see. They will be presenting you with something physically. And as they share, or I do want to conclude, sometimes Pentacles talk about belief systems. So they're going to be saying, hey, this is my new belief system. This is a physical, but I'm getting more pulled to physical. So, hey, listen, I've left my job, or I'm changing it, or I'm working on this project or whatever. No matter what it is going to be because they wanted to do it for them. They might not be thinking the straightest right now, but it works for them. They're not being super considerate. It's just what they wanted to do, but it does ultimately benefit you in the end. You will get something from them taking on this sort of selfish demeanor. I think it's so interesting that selfish just keeps coming up, because I don't think it's inherently selfish to do what you want to do. You know what I mean? But I just think, keep that in mind. I think that's interesting to note. It's going to be something unexpected, maybe not exactly what you wanted, not at the right time, but with the Sun card being in reverse, or just being here in general, you're going to be very happy with what it is. It's going to change you for the better, and it's going to be a huge positive shift in your life. So get excited, be open-minded, just focus on the fact that it does ultimately benefit you. So it's a good secret. It might be jarring to experience at first, but you'll do great in the end. So yeah, really interesting thing to unpack. I'm trying to see if there's anything left that I want to see or of note. No, my spirit guides just keep showing me like an object. There's like an object. Something's going to be given, seen. There's going to be something presented. So anyways, if you enjoy this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. I will see you in the next one. I look forward to it. Have a lovely, spooky day. And let's get ready for group number 2. Group number 2, let's look at what secrets need to be revealed to you by looking at the cards. We've got Gentle Gardener in reverse. Oh, wow. Queen of Wands in reverse, right next to that. All right. A tone has been set. All right. Judgment in reverse. We're going there. The Chariot upright. And 9 of Swords upright. All right. This could not be any more clearer. Okay. So I want you to listen to this entire thing, because it's a little bit of a roller coaster. However, the cool thing is you're going to be totally unaffected. You're going to actually come out on top better than where you're at right now. So you're wherever you're at right now, you're here. For a lot of you, this is just like your middle ground. You're fine. You're living life. This is going to be a little bit intense to initially kind of like hear and experience and be around. And then you're going to be like really killing it and doing way better than you were before they told you all this. So yay! I'm very happy for you. And you need to know that in order, so as I share this other information, you're like ready for it. Because this is not going to ultimately affect your life. It's just, this is the type of person who's kind of, to a certain extent, we want to, and I personally feel this way no matter the person, but we want to have compassion for them that they're going through this, but they're kind of toxic right now, and they're going to, I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit of intentional that they are trying to spread it your way, because the unintentional part comes from somebody who doesn't mean to be in this mindset. They are just suffering, and it's kind of one of those things where I don't know if you've ever personally been around someone or can understand this concept. Sometimes people are going through it so badly, they are self-aware and watching themselves hurt themselves and others and act in self-destructive ways, so to speak. And so this essentially is them, essentially they are acting this way and we can feel for them, but when they come to you with this secret, they are thinking, I want to affect them. I want to have some reaction. So it's a little bit like we feel for them because that's where their motivation is coming from, but it's also ultimately like, we wish you well on your trip, on your way, not our problem currently. Because remember, it's never your personal problem to take care of other people's energies. You can be there for them, you can support them, but it's ultimately their journey to make those decisions in the end and care for themselves, essentially. So keep that in mind. You're gonna come out on top. And I have some cool stuff that's gonna potentially happen. And I say potentially because this is a general reading, but for a vast majority of you, this is the positive, like kind of almost like a present or a shift after this. So the Gentle Gardener in Reverse Oracle card. This is our first kind of quote unquote negative sign of what they're trying to add into your life. The Gentle Gardener is all about, you could think of this like as a law of attraction sort of card. And this is the belief system that whatever you're thinking, you're going to essentially attract into your life. This is described through the metaphor of like a garden. And as you plant these seeds of positivity and understand your subconscious and how you're speaking and thinking, you will in turn attract more of that. And so when it's in reverse, this is somebody, in particular, they're having this effect on you. This is somebody who's planting seeds of doubt. This is, you got weeds in your garden, essentially. And this card is a warning, honestly. Again, remember, you can always make your own decisions. You can always make them. But this is kind of a heavy guidance from your spirit guides to be like, you probably don't want this person in your life because they're going to affect you in the long term in a way you won't be happy with. So this is when they're putting seeds of doubt in your life that will in the long term manifest and it will be harder to control and get control of. And you're basically being advised of being like, if you get them out of there, you can get those seeds out of there. Get those seeds out of there. You don't need them in your life. And it's not only just going to make you feel down, but it will change your internal system to think in a certain way that will in turn affect you negatively with your surroundings affecting you again in the long run. Again, not a great start of someone you want around you, but when they come with this secret, it's like that's the effect they want to have on you. So when you have a moment where you're thinking, oh no, should I not believe in myself or I'm not good enough with whatever they affect you with this secret, I want you to immediately pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go, that's them. That's not the truth of who I am and how I affect my world and what I want in the world. No, I will not be affected by this. So I want you to keep that in mind. Then we have Queen of Wands in reverse. And this is somebody who first of all has a very intense energy, which is why you probably will initially feel some sense of like a wave of being caught up in it initially, because these just people have very, like, you can feel them walking into the room whether you're sensitive to energies or not. And they are coming from a place of, I mean, this is multiple different sort of reactions. So they want to brag, they want to bring you down, they want to get attention. You could view it a bunch of different ways, but all you need to know is it's about a sort of smoke and mirror act in order to get you to look at them and give them attention, because they feel so empty inside, unfortunately. And I do feel for anybody who's going through that, even though their actions might make them quote unquote not appear as easy to love. We have to have compassion for people suffering. It's just not a great experience. So anyways, that is where they're coming from. That is where the social interaction's coming between those cards. But let's get into it a little bit deeper. So we get more explanation of where they're coming at and understanding why this is not a situation you can necessarily solve, resolve, and maybe talk through to. I want to keep that in mind, because sometimes you can talk to someone and be like, can we work this out? And this is kind of the last final warning to you from your spirit guides of being like, no, this is just not someone you can. When we have a judgment card in reverse, they have bad judgment. They're not thinking clearly. They're making bad decisions. This is mostly because of the Nine of Swords upright. This is somebody who's currently so overwhelmed and mentally struggling that this is how their energy is now manifesting, because they're just kind of going through it so much that it's like internally they might be someone you might more have compassion for and feel like, oh my gosh, they're really struggling, like I feel for them. But because it's coming out so nasty, you're just not seeing that side of them. So that's where they're coming from. We can feel for them in that way, and it's leading to this. But when we have a judgment card in reverse situation, this is somebody who is not going to be willing to meet you halfway and compromise. They're going to prevent a shift. They're going to prevent the ultimate discussion you need to have. Like, when you talk to someone and you're like, okay, let's talk about this, let's work it out, let's compromise, let's understand where everyone's coming from. They're going to try to slow that down. They're going to thwart it. They don't want to work with you, essentially. So you're going to basically be hitting a brick wall with this person. So as they share this information, and you're going to want to be, it's going to naturally, your first reaction is going to be like, I'm affected by this, and can we change this? Can we shift this? Don't let them get you caught up. It's they're projecting on you. It's not true. Don't remind yourself who you are. Understand where they're coming from, so you can, sometimes when we understand where people are coming from, it helps us take more of an observational perspective, and you can kind of like pull back and get away from it and understand that this is not going to shift and change. You're going to need to break away from this person right now. But now, the Chariot card. The Chariot card ultimately is this positive reassurance that you are going to make these decisions naturally. You're going to pull away from this person successfully. And it's the idea that there is something distressing and you will have victory over it. So it's a confirmation that there will be a distressing moment, but that ultimately you will be victorious and you're going to be great and everything's going to be awesome on top. This is a above average positive card. It's not just being like, you're going to be fine, everything's going to be okay. It's like, you're going to be thriving. You're going to be doing way better off and become an ultimately stronger person, but have way above average good things coming in your life. Now, this is really interesting. The Chariot card talks about travel, and I don't normally bring this up because I don't normally vibe this, and I try to only share stuff I'm vibing with, but I'm personally vibing pretty strongly with the idea that this is going to have to do with you ultimately, after this is all done, some form of moving, some form of a positive, like a trip or something like that. There's something to do with a travel change, and I keep being shown like smiling and like happiness and like a sense of wonder, like, ooh, I'm experiencing a new place, how cool. And remember, travel can be very relative. It can be just like taking a day trip to a cool forest an hour away. You know what I mean? So keep open-minded to that. Personally, and this is so interesting considering the circumstances right now, but I keep being more shown that it's like a big trip, that it's like more traveling from a longer distance. So that's exciting. I think that's so interesting. I don't question tarot anymore. Sometimes you're like, really? Are you sure? And apparently they're right, so I just go with it. So that seems to be popping up for a lot of you, and I'm excited. Just know where people are coming from so you can, get through it in the most comfortable manner. And then once you get through it and you detach yourself from them and just ultimately feel better, potentially they could have been the thing really bringing you down for some time, for a while now. For a lot of you, there's also going to be the added treat of like a gift. So you think of it as like the universe giving you a gift for doing a good job, for pushing that person away, and bettering yourself. So yeah, anyways, if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely, fantastic, wonderful day. I am wishing you the best. I will see you in the next one. And let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3. Let's find out what secrets need to be revealed to you by looking at the cards. We've got the movement card, oracle card in reverse. I have things to say about that. Queen of Swords upright, 5 of Cups upright, 5 of Wands in reverse, and 8 of Swords upright. Okay, so I'm a little torn between understanding if this is you and this is your reaction, the place you're currently in, or if this is the person and their energy and it's coming your way. And we're going to be sharing both sides in order to include everyone. And you might say, how will I know which one I am? As I talk about this, you're going to quickly be like, oh, that's definitely me. Or you're going to be like, oh, that's not me. Okay, then I guess this is the energy the person will be bringing. Okay, good to know. So let's first of all talk about the movement card. I have very strong feelings about this card because I've been there in this place in my life personally many times. It's not a fun experience, and yet it's still very helpful. It does give a solution, so it's not necessarily a bad card, but it's not fun to get, but it's great to get the card in order to get out of the circumstance. So essentially, the movement card is when we feel like we're moving all around and we're not going anywhere. This is different than a stuck in the mud type of oracle card, because the stuck in the mud card feels like you truly are not moving anywhere. You make steps and there's absolutely no progress. Movement card is a lot more frantic because you think you're making progress and it just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, and you feel like you're doing so much and getting nothing in return, and it's very confusing, and sometimes even will embody the idea where you feel like you're moving 2 steps forward, 10 steps back. But this card is a reminder that what seems like you're off your journey or you're lost is actually, in fact, a part of the journey. And you are moving forward, and this is okay. This is you trying to figure stuff out. When we grow, when we change, when we're trying to achieve our dreams, it's not always linear and comfortable and progressive in a comprehensible, like I said, linear way we want to as humans, like, when we say video games and stuff like that, or board games rather. So it's the idea of, if this seems off, if this, secret makes you feel like you're a little jostled or all over the place, or this is the energy you're currently carrying, understand you're still moving forward. No worries, don't get distracted by this idea, but this is the energy that will pop up and make you think you're not moving forward, essentially. So let's talk about, is it you or is it them? Either way, you're going to be approached with an energy it's like a sad secret, essentially. It's like this idea of like, maybe they're just letting you know they don't feel good, they're uncomfortable, maybe they've just lost something, maybe they've lost a sense of themselves. Whatever it is, they're coming to you with this heavy energy. But this could potentially be you, and you could be the one struggling. And we're talking, and you might be like, yeah, it is me, I'm feeling a little sad. No, I'm talking like really heavy energy, intense energy. So if that's not you, then this is not you. You know what I'm saying? You have to resonate with pretty intense, like, you got to look like this person. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to set the bar for sadness. But then we have a Queen of Swords situation. So if this is you, this is them coming to you and kind of having a very frank discussion about this feeling you're experiencing and their perspective on it. That's where the secret entails, them saying, listen, this is how I feel about what you're going through. This is how it's affecting me. This is how I see it affecting you. And I want you to keep in mind about the Queen of Swords situation and if you are in this circumstance, because this is somebody who is going to be honest to a fault where it might be kind of rough to hear, but this is not someone who's expressing information in the least with any intention to hurt you. And I want to add this because this is the feeling my spirit guides are giving me. If it feels intense to hear or hurtful, sometimes people are trying to be helpful and they mean well, but it's like, yeah, but you're still being hurtful. You're still not, you have good intentions, but you're still not expressing it and you're doing more harm than good. This is not that. If it feels difficult to hear, please keep open-minded because it's actually good advice. It's actually good perspective. Because, and this is where I want you to focus on again, if this is you, this is somebody who, when they are coming to you with the truth, they're doing it out of love and respect because they feel that because they love and respect you so much, they should not have to shield you from the best possible information and the facts that you were not seeing. Because as we can see, you can't see it. You're shrouded in an emotion that is not allowing you and is warping your perspective. And they're trying to help bring this perspective to you in order to pull you out of it. So please move towards it. It's a good thing. It just might be a little hard, and in the place you're in, you might want to naturally pull away. Don't move towards them. This is a good person, good energy, and this is the thing that's going to help move you forward. You want this. You want to be out of this. Do not let this emotion consume you. And often this emotion can kind of like trick us into not going towards good things that benefit us. Do whatever you can to the best of your ability at the minimum to just listen to them. That's not something you have to do, the way people suggest, like if you're not feeling good, go exercise. You can at least have an open heart and open ears to what they're saying. Now, for other people who are like, oh, I'm not feeling, down at all, this isn't me. Unfortunately, it seems like something was told to them, some sort of reveal, in that circumstance. Same energy, like they just needed to be told the truth, and it really hurt their feelings. It really brought them down. It was something very difficult for them to share, and this is something you can kind of advice-wise say to them. Say, well, was it something that was the best? Was it told to you because it was meant to hurt you, or was it the thing that we needed to have the most honest perspective? So that might be a comforting thing for your friend. But either way, it seems like they're totally consumed and lost in it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if you're going to be able to help them out of this circumstance. And this is important and reflective to pay attention to when we talk about the movement card. We're going to get more into that in a second. Because when we have an Eight of Swords situation, and I want to repeat this again, this is exclusively, when we're talking about this chunk of it, this is not if you are not feeling great and then they're coming to you. We're talking about if they're coming to you and they're not feeling great and you're feeling fine. I just want to understand that to be absolutely clear. Because when they're coming to you and they're saying, I'm not feeling great, this is what someone told me, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through, they are in the Eight of Swords and the Five of Wands in reverse, not in a position to change. They unfortunately just are not capable of change, not because they're being stubborn, but it's just not the time in their life where they're able to let go of their perspectives of their situation. They're holding on to their self-limiting beliefs. They're not going to budge, unfortunately. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. And essentially, you're basically being given the guidance, so to speak, when we have the ram spirit animal and the Five of Wands in reverse, that this is not something you're going to change their perspective. In fact, actually, you should be warned of it because people who suffer from like this type of heavy energy in their life or whatever they're coming through, we always have to have compassion for them. I have to is not the best verb. You want to, and it's a good, intention to be this way. But sometimes people's energies can actually pull us back, and they got to go work on their own situation, and it's actually going to bog you down. Again, we talk about the movement card. The Ram is somebody who's like vital and strong. This is like a huge compliment to where you're at in your life. And you see how they're surrounded by this heavy energy and this mindset. It's not going to poison you, and it's not going to start planting any seeds of doubt in your head, but it is going to trap you. And this is like a warning of saying, get out of there. You can't help them right now. Don't get caught up in it. It's going to pull down this momentum. The Ram has momentum. You're kind of in the best place in your life to keep moving forward with whatever you're trying to strive for and keep building it up and getting stronger and stronger and even take on some fun, challenging things. But this is not the challenge you want to take on. When the Five of Wands pops up, this implies that nobody's moving anywhere in this case, it's not an argument. The Five of Wands often refers to an argument. This is not an argument situation, I'm being told. This is understanding that two different people have two different perspectives, and you're not going to agree or change the other person's mind. This is a good thing. This is a compliment to you. Again, this is the Ram energy. When they try to bring this heavy energy to you, it's not going to affect you. You're not going to take it on. You don't have to be worried in the least that it's going to somehow make you stop being so strong-willed right now. But your strong-willed energy is not going to change theirs at the moment. They're not ready to let go. And that's honestly not only not your problem, but it's just what it is. It's nothing, we can't criticize people for where they're at in their life. You know what I mean? And it's basically suggesting that now is the time to let go and walk away from this person at the moment in order to, again, when we talk about movement, gain your sense of momentum and feel like you're more moving forward. But understand that by them showing up and challenging you in this manner, they are teaching you something. What feels like 3 steps backwards, having to deal with this, having to do this, is reiterating and reattaching you and making you realize that Ram energy we talked about. And realizing, hey, I now better understand what I have to offer. Okay, now I'm going to take that energy and do something with it after this as you then move forward. So it's ultimately a good thing you're having this interaction and this secret revealed, but just keep that in mind. Now, for people who are struggling and you're being told this information and this whatever, I want you to keep in mind with the Eight of Swords situation that if you feel you are not able to let go right now, that's okay. Sometimes it's just the way it is. And that doesn't mean you're not going to eventually let go. Think of your struggle as a measurement. So you are in a circumstance where, let's say we can measure the time you're not feeling great for like 2 months. I'm sure it's probably longer, but let's just give a measurement of 2 months. It's not great for 2 months, right? Out of a whole year. And while you're going through it, to be told, hey, you're not going to feel great for another 6 weeks, it's not super comforting. But when you realize it, you think, oh, it's only 2 months. The rest of the time, I'm going to feel great. It's going to be awesome. It is going to eventually end. If you're telling me I'm allowed to just kind of sit in this and go through the motions right now, then okay. It's just 2 months. It will run its course and I'll feel better. Think of it like that, okay? That's your movement card. We talk about 3 steps back. You're not taking 3 steps back. It feels like it, but it's a part of the journey. So keep that in mind. You're not a failure. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just going through what you naturally need to go through. But I do want to give you a peace of mind when you get the Eight of Swords situations over other cards you could have gotten. If you feel you're not able to move forward when this person has this honest conversation, that is okay. But you got the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is incredibly positive. It implies that these swords are your own personal self-limiting belief system. You put them there. You can remove them whenever you want. You just have to realize that you can move them, that you have the ability and control and power to. So I want you to keep that in mind, that if you want to, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to try to, you can. It's there. That potential to change is there. But if you don't want to, if you just feel like it's too hard right now, that's also okay. That's a part of what needs to happen. I'm just putting that out there. And then with the Five of Wands, it does, it's a little sad, but it does imply that this person might distance themselves from you for a little while, because if they can't get to you, they feel like that's all they can offer and they need to go focus on other aspects of their life at the moment. But keep in mind, this is not again, this goes back to the whole wands idea that like, and the swords idea. If you can't have your mind changed, that's because all of this is based on what you want to do. And that's okay. That's not something to criticize. You don't have to go with what other people say. You don't have to follow the natural, corny, happy, feel good movie flow idea where it's like someone comes to you and then you feel better and everything's okay. Things don't work like that. They can, you get what I'm saying, essentially. It doesn't mean you can't come back to this person, but just understand they might not fully comprehend that this is what you need to do right now, and this is where you're at, and that's okay. Just withdraw a little while, do what you need to do, and you guys can come back together as friends or whoever it is that's coming to you. It feels very friend energy. I will point out, this is a general reading, but it feels very heavily male energy. I want to point that out. But again, you can change the circumstance. You're being comforted that you can. But I'm wishing you the best either way. Both people who are struggling and people who are coming across somebody who is struggling. Both of you guys have got this. You're going to ultimately come out on the top in the end. It's just a transitional time period. So, if you're enjoying this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I will see you in the next one. I'm wishing you the best, by the way. And let's get ready for group number 4. Group number 4. Let's find out what secrets need to be revealed to you by looking at the cards. We've got Goblins in reverse, Temperance in reverse, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, 10 of Cups in reverse, and wow, 9 of Pentacles in reverse. My goodness. Okay, so this is, this feels heavily like work related, and if it's not work related, it feels like the idea of people talking about accomplishments. So this is like when you have a fear of missing out type of situation. But either way, I'll just put this out there first, so you can be prepared for this. This is going to be, I say unexpectedly because you'll see where I go with this, incredibly negative spread. However, here's the great thing. This is not about then it making negative for you or you in any way, shape, or form being negatively affected about this. This is good negativity. This is about you understanding where someone's coming from and then feeling released because you're like, oh, wow, okay, they're going through that. That explains why the energies have not been great in here. Cool, I feel way better. So just keep that in mind. You want to hear all of this because this is not about you or anything bad gonna happen to you. You're fine. You're gonna be doing great. In fact, actually, things might have been feeling a little weird and rough vibe-wise around you with these people or this person. You know what I mean? Or if you feel this when they come around you, and understand that this is the underlying message, because this is the interesting thing. It feels like they're going to come to you and express information, right? But it's like a read between the lines circumstance where they're going to be saying one thing, but it's actually all lies, and they're trying to make you feel bad about yourself, and in turn they're unaware that they're expressing how bad they actually feel. So when you start to realize that energy is being brought your way, this is what's actually going on in their life. You shouldn't take any of it seriously. All is good. And then you can live your best possible life. And you're kind of basically being told over here, and we'll get into this with the Goblins card, what essentially guidance you should consider going on in your life and how to best handle this circumstance. So actually, let's focus on this first, and then I'll go with Goblins last. So first off, the 8 of Pentacles heavily makes me feel like this is somebody like potentially work related. I'm feeling pulled 2 different ways for the general reading. So for some of you guys, this is like a boss, a coworker. This is just someone you're not getting along with. It's just not meshing. It's just the way it is sometimes. You don't understand why they have such a personal problem with you. You know what I'm saying? And then for other people, this is a friend that comes to you and is always needing to kind of brag about or exaggerate how great their life really is. You know what I mean? So we have two different circumstances. I want you to keep in mind that this works for both of them, but these are the two different circumstances I'm connecting to predominantly. Either way, as they're expressing themselves to you, they're going to be like, oh yes, I'm doing so great. I can't hang out right now. Like for the people who are so busy and excited, saying how great their life is, you're going to feel like, man, why am I never invited to their life, their events, or, oh, things are so great for them. What am I doing with my life type of, they're trying to bring that energy to you. Keep that in mind. They're going to be, oh yeah, it's so amazing. It's so great. Everything's awesome. But I also want you to keep in mind that when we have the 10 of Cups situation, in reverse, this is somebody who's actually falsely advertising how great their life is. This is the confirmation. I say that strongly with an underline underneath it, italicized even, that it's not great. They're lying. They're making it up. And they desperately want so bad for it to be great that they're trying to put others down as a way of this is really interesting. So there's different ways to manifest and law of attraction and spells and stuff like that. And one of the ways you can do it is by almost in a way lying to other people and saying, let's say you want to move out to a house. I'm going to move out to this house. And even though you have no idea how you're going to get money, and technically you're not because you're waiting to get that money before you can, by telling everyone and having everyone believe that, they're putting out extra energy with your energy to manifest that thing. So it's like a temporary false lie. And then once you obviously have that money, now you're technically moving. You know what I mean? So this is like they're trying to do that, but they're doing it in a really harmful, hateful way. And it's not working because while they're expressing these lies, they're also very acutely aware it's not happening, and they're like subconsciously aware it's not going to happen because they're feeling so bad about themselves, and they're trying to attract this sort of energy essentially, or they're unintentionally attracting bad energy, so to speak. And for work-related people, this is implying like they're getting all of these leg ups at the job, workplace, the boss favors them, everything's so great. This is not true. This is not real. This isn't happening. Even if, and I do want to point this out because Spirit's telling me this, even if you see them getting a better position at the job, and I don't mean just like a more money, I'm talking about like sometimes people work in certain sort of jobs. I always like to use the barista metaphor. When you work at places like certain companies, people have certain places, like everyone hates register, but maybe you like to work at the espresso machine kind of thing. So understand that even if you see that, do not give in to jealousy. It is not what it seems. It might not be as great as it. There's something that's not quite hitting the mark for both of them and you. They don't have it better, trust me. Even if it might appear that way, I just want to be absolutely clear. Do not give in into false fantasies, essentially. But the Temperance card, we'll go to the Temperance card afterwards. Let's focus on the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. The biggest thing that I'm seeing is, I'm just totally blanking right now. Give me a second to think. I'm totally blanking. Give me a second. Let me do my best I can to explain this. My brain just totally died. But when you have a Nine of Pentacles in reverse situation, this is somebody. Oh, there we go. It's starting to click in my head. Sorry. Thank you for being patient with me. When you have a Nine of Pentacles in reverse circumstance, this is somebody who is trying to put you down because they're jealous, essentially. They feel like the world owes them something. They're just in a really, it's like a different form of, when you have Five of Pentacles, this is a lacking mindset. I would argue the Nine of Pentacles is a form of a lacking mindset. So they are going to come across as hostile and intense because they feel like they are deserved something. They don't feel like they're getting it. So remember, when we talk about false advertisement, they're bragging because they feel like they want you to think that they're getting it because they so don't feel like they're getting it. You know, getting the better opportunities, but getting the better stuff, getting whether they be jobs or a fun thing to do, and understand that they're coming to you. And again, we want to understand this so we feel better and can and in turn understand why people are projecting. When we have this popping up, they're coming to you with this energy because they feel that you actually do know where it's at. You are cool. You are getting the better positions. So definitely take a moment to like be grateful at wherever you are at work, or even if you're like home and you're bored and you're playing video games, you're like, it's not that great. Apparently it's better than theirs. Enjoy, revel in it. Might as well have little moments to have appreciation about your life and appreciate the minimum that you're not, kind of going through what they're going through, because what they're going through must be so bad that they need to bring other people's down. And so in that way we can have compassion for them, but in another we can remember that our own life maybe might not be as bad as we think it is. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I kind of get the energy. Sorry, I'm like really channeling right now. Actually, I shouldn't apologize for that. But the point is, it feels like you're kind of lukewarm right now. You're fine about your situation. They come to you, they brag. You have a moment you start to feel down. Then this is a reminder of don't even give down. In fact, empower that lukewarm feeling. It's actually pretty great where, in your neck of the woods, essentially. But last, here we have the confirmation of kind of what to do in this circumstance. The Temperance card just is the absolute confirmation that this is not going to change. This person's not going to change anytime soon. They aren't gonna, they're not gonna admit to you what they're actually struggling from. The big secret is nothing's going on. It's not that great. They're not gonna admit to you. They're not going to change this way. This is not someone you need to have in your life. They're just trying to bring you down and have like a weird energy and bring unnecessary bad vibes and drama you just do not need. So this is a confirmation that if you think that they're somehow worth having in your life because it's exciting to hear what they have going on, or maybe you might get an opportunity by being friends with them, or don't. You're not going to get it, and they're also not going to change right now anytime soon. But then when we have the Goblins card in reverse, this is very interesting. So this card is a great way of handling this circumstance. This implies that sometimes people are going through stuff, and this person is. We have to view it objectively. They are, even if it comes off more intense. It's easier to feel bad for someone crying at the side of the road than it does someone who's yelling at you. But even the person yelling at you needs love and attention too. That's why they are the way they are. They're just expressing it differently. Remember, anger is just a second byproduct emotion of the first emotion they really should be in tune with. So anyways, the Goblins card says somebody's going through something that's not great. They're going to try to project it on you. Now is not the time to get involved. In fact, it's quite toxic. It will bring you down, and it's honestly just not your problem and not a problem you're being advised to take on. It's not worth it. This advises you, because this is happening, to take sort of a detached vibe. View them almost as they express themselves and the emotions even as a form of a painting. View it like a painting. When you look at a painting, yes, you have reactions, emotions, but you kind of see it as an object. You see it outside yourself. When they talk, view them as a moving sculpture. Try not to react both show them that you're reacting, because apathy literally solves any argument. Don't fight with people, give them apathy. No one can react when you're not reacting back. It's like one of the best things I've ever observed. But it's more so that it prevents your emotions from getting caught up and consumed, and then you having to heal and deal with the emotions that shouldn't have been your problem in the first place. So as they're expressing themselves, you start to realize that because we're basically looking over this tarot spread, you're going to be like, oh, I've been warned about you. I saw this video. I know what's going on. You can view them like a painting, like an object, like a thing that you can view observationally. You can hear what they're saying, but not take it on. See what they're doing, but not respond to it. And then as you see that and you're responding to it and you're acknowledging it, you're not taking it with you. It's like looking at the grocery store. You see that apple's there or that object's there, and you're like, but I'm not going to take you home today. So therefore I'm not going to consume you into my body, and then I'm not going to experience the effects of whatever it is. We can use junk food for this example. They are junk food. You're not taking them home today. You know what I mean? You're going to take home something better, something you actually really want. You know what I mean? So, again, very positive in the end, because basically it's the confirmation. Sometimes the universe does a really unique way of confirming things positively in our life as a reflection. It's interesting how they do it. It's not random. Sometimes you need to experience it this way, but it's the confirmation that life is going really great for you. You're doing great. Maybe give it a little more love and attention and appreciate more. Not in a mean way of being like, you should appreciate your life more. Just more like, oh, sorry about that. I bumped the mic. It's more of the finding that much more joy in your life you didn't know was already there. And just be really happy that people like that are so apparently jealous of you. And don't get caught up in it. It's not better than they think it is. It's just all a lie. I just want you to predominantly focus on that. And of course, that is a secret that needs to be revealed, but they are not going to. Anyways, if you enjoyed this reading, like I did, this was really fun one to read. Please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have an absolutely lovely day. I care for you deeply. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!